AK teamed up with Thanos, snapped his fingers, and half the roster disappeared. What are the Chicago Bulls doing? What is my beloved Bulls doing? This guy is in charge, so to speak. He is all over the place. Let's just take a look. I have to just take a look. By this time, you know the players that have come and gone. Probably it's hard to keep up. Half the roster legitimately is now gone. The roster is completely different than it was 2 weeks ago. So let's take a look and see who's in. Jaden Ivey's in. Anfernee Simons is in. Talent Sexton, Gershon Yabusele, hope I'm saying that right, is in. Rob Dillingham, his 5 foot nothing self. Leonard Miller and Nick Richards, they're all in. Those are the players that the Chicago Bulls now have. That is 2, 4, 6, 7 new players on a team that only has 15 total. So half the roster just about completely revamped. Who's out? Basically, I did an experiment with a couple of friends of mine. I was like, can you name a Chicago Bull right now? And it took quite aside from Patrick Williams, because we all know that Patrick Williams is going to be around forever. Patrick Williams is still there. Ask one of your friends. Ask one of your friends that follows the NBA but maybe doesn't follow the Bulls on a day-to-day basis. Ask them if they can name a Chicago Bull player right now. So Coby White's out. Io's out. Nikola Vooch is out. Kevin Herter, Dalen Terry, Julian Phillips, Javon Carter. I mean, he didn't play that much, but he was on the team. Dario Saric, he would, we'll all remember his legendary career of 48 hours. And then Mike Conley Jr., who also was there for a cup of tea. Not even a full cup. So those are all the players that have left Chicago. At this point, it's hard to even begin to get your head around where they're going. Let's talk about the draft capital. So the Bulls did add 9 second-round picks. No extra first rounds. They have all of theirs, but there are no extra picks, no extra first-round picks that they've traded for. Total of 14 second-round picks under team control over the next, I think, like 4 or 5 years. It's a lot of second round picks, and hopefully they're going to do something. We're going to really see how much value second round picks have in the coming months. That's going to be the biggest thing. So what's left? We've seen it. We've seen the trades. We've seen all of the trades. So 7 in 5 days. The Bulls didn't make a trade. AK didn't make a trade for years and tried to get it all in at one time. I tell you, I think AK, it's like he's one of those guys that reads and doesn't read the whole sentence. He gets to about halfway into the sentence and says, oh, that's what I have to do. And he forgot to read like the rest of the sentence to understand what you shouldn't do or when you should do it. So he must have read that, oh, I'm not trading for draft picks. I should trade for draft picks. And then just decides to trade everyone for second round picks. That was it. So is there a master plan? A lot of times when it comes to these, you try to take the emotion out of it. Take a look at your team and say, okay, if I did this, what am I working toward? What would I be working toward? And I know a lot of people are saying right now, I wouldn't have been stupid enough to do it. Fair enough. Solid point. But hang on. If you had, what would you be up to? Well, what is the grand scheme? There has to be one, right? Hopefully, please, right? So what could it be? 14 picks. That's obviously a lot of ammo to go out to. Is it big game hunting? And I don't mean the biggest of them. I'm not thinking that the Bulls are going to go out and get Giannis. I doubt that happens. Could it? Sure. Doubt it happens. It doesn't even quite make sense. And I love Giannis. Giannis would be an amazing Chicago Bull. He would look great in red and black. No, that's not the one. Zion, there's always been so much smoke around Zion. So I think if there's any star level player that the Bulls are trying to go out to get, I think that would be the route that they would go. Maybe him, Messi, the Pelicans. The two of them. We have no front court players. No one's over about 6'8" at this point. Patrick Williams legitimately might be playing center for the rest of the season. But the other options, if you're not going after Zion or there has to be a trade where you're trying to package 3 or 4 of them or move up in the draft. That's the only thing you could do. Say something about Giannis. They do have Portland's pick as well. And for some reason, I've always thought that the Bulls, Portland, and the Bucks could work something out. Not where Giannis ends up in Chicago. I will love to be wrong. I will happily be wrong. Somebody clip this, go back and watch it, tell me how wrong I was if Giannis ends up in Chicago. I could see him ending up in Portland. Or the Bucks, the Trailblazers, and Bulls could work something out. If there was ever a deal, Giannis going to Portland, Giannis not coming to Chicago. So Giannis ending up in Portland. The Bucks, remember, paying a bunch of draft picks. Their 2028 first round swaps in 2028 and 2030, and then the outright unprotected first round pick of 2029. That went to Portland during when Dame Lillard came over to the Bucks. The Bulls also own one of the Portland draft picks. So there could be some combination. It just feels like all of those draft picks could almost go back to the correct teams and there could be something worked out there. It would free up the Bucks. The Bucks wouldn't have this huge draft pick sitting out there going to Portland later. They could send Giannis there, get some of their picks back, go from there. It just feels like that if there's a trade, that's sort of the trade that I could see happen as far as that goes. How that would affect the Bulls, how would they be able to do anything with all of their draft picks, all their second rounders? What would they be getting back? I don't know. I would have to look. I really don't know Portland's team that well this year. I'll be honest with you. I haven't kept up with them. But that's really the only kind of, I've always felt that those were like the 3 teams that would have some kind of combination to do when it came to the Bucks. But that's big game hunting. That's that big fish that's out there. If the Bulls are to get into that, get into the Giannis deal, that's probably the way that I think that they actually get into it. Do these second round picks help that? Maybe they can grease the wheels. But so other options, clearly the youth movement is on. It's all about Josh Giddey and Modest at this point. Jaden Ivey as well, though. I think Jaden Ivey could be a hidden gem. The 2 players that I'm the most excited about was Jaden Ivey and honestly Simons. Simons next to Giddey, I think could be a good combination. He's a free agent at the end of the year, so he may not want to stick around. And Lord, I don't even really blame him. Here, let me jump back real quick to just so I have the list of names in front of me. Those are the 2 that I am most excited about seeing. Rob Dillingham, I'd love to be wrong, but he's just too little. With the little short guard that sort of can shoot and sort of can score. He hasn't done it at the NBA level. Now, it could be that he was on Minnesota, and Minnesota doesn't have a ton of time to teach him and help him along the way because they're going for a title and they're playing at the top, in the playoffs, and they don't have time for developing a young player. I get all that. It could be true. I'm not holding my breath for it. Colin Sexton, I think he's done at the end of the year. And the others, throw in guys, no one is really going to jump out at you. I think Yabusele he's serviceable. Nick Richards, serviceable, but they're not changing the trajectory of your team at this point. So again, Jaden Ivey, who's also a free agent at the end of the year, so the Bulls have all of 30 seconds to figure out if they need to pay him. They didn't want to pay Io and they didn't want to pay Coby. That's very, very clear. Whether they should or shouldn't have, I could make a case for it. Personally, I think they should have kept one or the other. And the guy that I would have kept would have been Io for a litany of reasons. I would have kept him because from Chicago shouldn't matter, but it does. Let's just be real, it does. But also, he's the one with the 2-way. He's playing defense. You can fit him in on any team. No matter what your team is doing, you can always have Io out there. So I would have kept Io. I think it was a mistake for them to trade him. Rob Dillingham, he's just, like I said, he just doesn't do it for me. Not looking forward to that. We clear the books. Now, we have a ton of off season. We have a ton of money, which is great. Now just how are they going to use it? So it's one of those, is it a rebuild or is it a reset? AK, I just don't have the trust in him. Again, he's giving me no reason, or as Bulls fans, he's giving us no reason to believe in anything he does or says. If you heard his press conference right after all of these trades, he started talking about, you could have almost done a layout from the last time he did a press conference after the trade deadline last year and this one, and you could have flipped them and you wouldn't have noticed anything was different. He talked about not wanting to be in the middle anymore, and he, was tired of being in the middle. Well, okay, then stop making mid moves. That's what you're a mid team with a mid president. And this is my team. I love my Bulls, but factually speaking, a lot of moving around, a lot of moving, things around on the deck, but it looks like the same team if you kind of look at it, just shorter, a lot shorter. So I will say this. The one thing that we get to do as Bulls fans, which is unique. It's rare that you get to do this in the middle of a season, but you get to follow your player. So the Bulls the rest of the year, of course, we're Bulls fans. We're going to watch and we're going to keep up with our team, but it's going to be rough. So during those rough nights or nights the Bulls aren't playing, we get to follow our guy. So if you're a Coby fan, your new team is to get to follow is Charlotte, the Charlotte Hornets. You get to follow them, see them take over the Bulls, probably in their 10th, the 10th spot, at least the play in, see how Coby does, taking them the rest of the way. If you're an IO fan, you probably get the best team. You get you get the best team. So if you're an IO guy, you want to go and watch him play. He's in Minnesota now. You get to watch him and Ant take over the Western Conference, maybe. Yeah, you get to follow them. That would be your rooting team for the playoffs. And then, of course, if you're a Vooch guy, you're a Boston Celtics fan. I'm sorry, that's rough. But you get to follow the Celtics. If you're a Dale and Terry guy, hey, follow him. You have tons of players in tons of different places that if you're a fan of one of them, you get a new team to root for the rest of the year, because for the Bulls, it's going to be tough. I say that. I'm still going to watch. We're going to sit there. Am I going to grumble? Absolutely. Does any of this make sense right now? No. Our next big thing that we need to look forward to as far as dates is May 10th. May 10th is the draft lottery, where they pick the draft lottery. Personally, I'm hoping that the Bulls get it rigged for them this time, as opposed to, like they did for Dallas and everything. Kidding, sort of. But again, what do you think? And then, of course, the draft in late, I don't believe they set a date for the draft yet, but it's always late June for the draft. Hopefully at that point, I said this in my last video, though, that hopefully at the trade deadline, the Bulls would make some sense of all these random trades before the trade deadline hit. They didn't. So let's move it out one more time. Hopefully by the draft, it'll make sense. There'll be a big move draft night. Let's call it. I'm calling it draft night. AK, don't let me down. Don't let us Bulls fans down. You're in control of this ship. Get Thanos to snap his fingers again. Get the next time he does that, if you could bring back some good players, that would be amazing. Or draft picks or first round picks. Anything useful. So also, which departure hit you the hardest? Which one do you think you're like, oh, I can't believe they traded him? That's my guy. For me, like I said, I'm a Coby fan. I think the trade of Io was the one that shocked me the most. It's not even what they brought back, but I was shocked that when I saw Coby leave, I was shocked that Io went to. That's the one that hit me the hardest. But what about you? Let me know in the comments. Also, do you think the Bulls are going to try to use all their picks, or are they going to try to flip them? Let me know in the comments below. Till then, this is Ian with Getting Work signing off. Later, fam. D-Red.